Hello and welcome to another of our Sportingbet World Cup videos. We're looking at all of the 8 groups. We're looking at Group E now. Why are we looking at the groups? Well, it's simple. We've got a great promotion on the website at the moment. You can win up to £100,000 for predicting the 1-2 in the correct order amongst the 8 groups. Exciting stuff. Take a look at that. Mark O'Hare has given us his 1-2 in all of the 8 groups. We're looking at Group E now, Mark, and the market leaders here, 13-20 with Sportingbet, of course, are France, odds on, an erratic side for me. Never really make it simple in qualifying, but they get the job done in the end. They've got a World Cup pedigree, but they've also got a pedigree for failing miserably in the World Cup. Your thoughts on France, please?
Yeah, it seems to be triumph or disaster when it comes to France, and it seems to be the complete opposite of what the public seem to expect when they go into that World Cup. You look at the spine of that team, it's just dripping with quality. Hugo Lloris in goal, Raphael Varane at centre half, then you've got Ribéry and Paul Pogba in the middle, and then you've got Karim Benzema up front. I mean, that's a lot of talent there. My one concern really seems to be over squad depth. Have they got enough game changers to come off the bench and win them a match when the game is tight and they're in a battle? But since probably January time, I've started thinking, you know, this French team is decent. You know, they deserve respect, and at 22-1 to win the thing, they are challengers. The draw's been very kind to them. They avoid the hotter climates. They've got a modest group, you should probably say, and in the last 6 World Cups, when they've actually made it to the World Cup, they've reached the semi-final on 4 occasions. A repeat of that is 4-1. You know, that deserves an interest. Didier Deschamps, it's all about winning in his eyes. Squad unity as well. So you shouldn't see any of the disasters that went on in South Africa when the players revolting. Goals haven't been too freely for them, averaging 1.88 during qualifying. They're not too flashy, they won't be very entertaining, but they'll be dynamic and solid and physical and fast. They're 7 in 24 games now since the last World Cup have featured over 2.5 goals. Only 3 of those 24 over 3.5 goals. That goes to show you sort of how unentertaining this French team have become. They're rightly 13-20 favourites to win this group, 7-10 to be the top scoring team in the group, which they should easily do that, and 9-2 to win 3 from 3, which does appeal, but I do like Switzerland as well, which I'm sure we'll come to.
Well, we'll come to Switzerland right now. Mark's been purring about the Swiss. Not often you can say that. Regarding their position in the group, 11-4 with Sportingbet to win Group E. Mark, why are you so excited about Switzerland?
Well, they're similar to the Greeks in my eyes, in the fact that they don't get enough credit for what they do. They're very they're not the neutrals' favourite because they're quite defensive. They sort of grind out their victories. You look at our last 2 World Cups, and in 7 matches, their games averaged 0.86 goals per game. Not too exciting. Of course, they were eliminated in 06 without conceding a goal. They're a difficult team to play against them. You can see their competitive record in the past 6 years. They've only lost 4 of 29 games. That's very impressive. It's the first time they've got a World Cup seeding. They're very proud of that as well. Otmar Hitzfeldt's retiring as a coach at the end of this World Cup, and he's kind of bowed to public pressure to start fielding some youngsters from the sort of large immigrant community in Switzerland. You've got the likes of Shaqiri, Xhaka, Inler in midfield, Lichtstein as an outstanding right wing back, Ricardo Rodriguez on the left hand side just as good, and then up front they've got Josep Djimic, who's been outstanding for a relegated Nuremberg in the Bundesliga team, and he might be the player they've missed up front all these years, because defensively, despite that outstanding record, they are starting to be a little bit beatable in defence. Unbeaten in qualifying, kept 7 clean sheets from 10. But you look at that defence, the central defence especially, Giroud, Senderos, Von Bergen and Schär, they're not really outstanding players. They will be hyper-organised, meticulously planned as well from Hitzfeldt. He's not very happy with the draw. They have to play Manaus and a 5-hour flight to Salvador as well, which really does work against them. But they're staying in Bahia and arriving 9 days early as well to try and acclimatise to the hot and humidity in the area. It probably will have an effect on their pressing game, which that's the only concern for me, because I think they are really good runners for 11-4 to win this group. I think they can hold France and get results in the other 2. If they do top the group, they'll avoid Argentina. 3-1 to reach the quarterfinals. It's achievable.
Interesting stuff. Ecuador, of course, are in the World Cup. They're next in the betting for Group E, 4-1. They've been in quite a few recent World Cups in the 21st century, certainly. Bad travellers is the first thing that come to my mind. Would you concur with that?
Yeah, it's quite a lazy stereotype, but it's one that's very apt. I think when you look at Ecuador. The Colombian coach Ronaldo Rueda actually reckons they're going to reach the final. Gotta love coaches like that. Yeah. The best ever result is reaching the last 16, and they do say this is the best crop of players, but Chicho Benitez, of course, who sadly passed away, has had a huge and damaging effect on this team, tactically and emotionally as well, because they're quite a close-knit group. They've always lacked goals as well, and that mantle's kind of fallen upon former Man City striker Felipe Caicedo. He scored 7 in 9, which on the face of it looks quite good, but 3 of those are penalties. They only scored 20 in 16 qualifiers, 5 of which only came away from home, and that record at home in Quito in high altitude, they won 7 and drew 1. That draw was against Argentina, conceding just 3. Away from home they drew 3 and lost 5, losing to all the teams that finished above them. They're hard workers, they like to use their wingers, they're physically strong, they're pacey. They will be an annoying team to play against, quite difficult to sort of get what you want out of them, but I think that opening game against Switzerland is completely key to how they do, because I don't see them getting a result against France. 8-11 on them not to qualify is probably the bet here. They've only won 7 competitive games in the last 4 years, and they've only won twice away since 2006.
Wow. And the ranks in this group, the rank outsiders, 33-1 is Honduras, playing in their 2nd consecutive World Cup, of course. Now, Honduras, the squad's peppered with players from the sort of lower echelons of the Premier League, higher end of the Championship. Workman-like players, I would suggest. How do you think that will work with regards to their chances here in Group E?
I think they've got a little chance, to be honest. So, although the group is, it's negotiable. But for Honduras, I love teams like Honduras because they are going to come out and try and play a little bit. Some of these minnow teams will come and try and sit back and defend and nick a goal. Honduras will try to attack. Another eccentric host here, coaching Luis Fernando Suarez. He reckons they're going to bring down France in this World Cup. They failed to score in their last appearance, of course, and the only time they've ever taken a result is 1982, so history's against them. They were beaten 5-0 in a friendly by Brazil, which just sort of shows a little bit of inexperience and being picked off by better teams, but they are courageous. You look at their last World Cup and they only lost 1-0 and 2-0 to Spain and Chile, which is it's commendable at the end of the day. They will stick to their roles. They are obviously defensive minded, but I think they can well, they'll come out to play, which I think deserves a little bit of credit. They surprised everyone by finishing 3rd in the Hex in CONCACAF, beat USA at home, Mexico away, but that was only their only away win in qualifying, and they lost to Panama, USA and Costa Rica. It doesn't really, it's not really great for them. They struggle for goals as well. There's 2 strikers are hardly household names. 13-20 on them to pick up under 1.5 points. It's short, but it's the only real potential bet you could have on Honduras in my eyes anyway. Interesting stuff.
Well, Mark's been putting like Switzerland, as we've seen. I'm interested to find out where he'll place Switzerland in his 1-2 for Group E, because that's what it's all about. Pick your 1-2 in each of the 8 groups, get them right, you win up to £100,000. Mark, who will be your 1-2 in Group E?
I just think Switzerland aren't going to be good enough to beat France, and then France are going to do it on a goal difference. So it's boring, but France won, Switzerland 2.
There we have it.